Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. A lot to get into, including the Penguins, who are really tied up in an amazing race as they go right down to the wire. Got a big game against the Islanders coming up tomorrow. #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown, however, will be the Pittsburgh Pirates, who salvaged the game today, 2 out of 3 losses to the Mets. Here to discuss is your panel tonight. We have Mr. Jeff Hathhorn from 93.7 The Fan, the sports director who does just about everything there. In the middle, it's Chris Adamski from the Trib, on his way to the NFL owners meetings. We'll get into that a little later, Chris. And Ray Fittipaldo, who does an outstanding job covering the Steelers for the Post-Gazette. So let's talk about it. O'Neal Cruz, Jeff, right off the bat, made an impression. It's bad enough that it's on opening day, but when it's on NBC, a national audience, Paul Skenes on the mound, I'm sorry, those were both errors. They don't call them errors in today's baseball, but it cost the Pirates a lot in that game. What do you do with O'Neal Cruz? Or is it to the point where you just say, well, it's one game? I understand that too. But this is a trend that's gone back over a couple of years.
I think what bothered me more than those actual plays were his at-bats after. That he didn't say, okay, I got to pick it up, or I got to have some good at-bats. It just destroyed him the rest of the game. The reality is, I mean, people talk about moving him to third. There isn't a place to put him. You got to run with him at center field and hope that he improves. I mean, he made a couple of bad plays. I noticed he had sunglasses today.
And he made a good play at the end on a relay to home plate.
I mean, the thing is, he'll never be a great fielder, and you just got to hope that his bat makes it worth it.
Yeah, he'll strike out a lot. He'll never be a good fielder. He'll always strike out a lot. At this point, he's 27 years old in his fifth season. I mean, he is who he is. Now, that doesn't mean he's unplayable. Doesn't mean he'll probably have flashes. He's going to show his arm and make some plays that way, like he did today, to help him win a game. He's still going to hit. They're still valuing guys that hit 20-some home runs, which he does. But yeah, this idea he's ever going to be a superstar or a star or what people wanted him to be and think he can be and his potential, judging by his talent alone, is just not going to. I mean, Jake Mangum is like a quad A player. And he's a more useful player. He plays better defense.
He made a great play yesterday. Probably they don't know.
I mean, base pass.
He had a good at bat against a lefty today. So I mean, I don't want to just wipe off his bat, but what I'm going to say is he's never going to be a great fielder. I don't think he cares that much about it.
What would be the options, though, Ray? Jeff mentioned play. I don't think third base is an option. Some people say first. DH, you have Ozino. You pay him $12 million. You're not going to just go away from that. What do you do?
Listen, he's a low-energy player. He comes off lackadaisical at times. You mentioned the play at the end, though. He gets to the ball. He makes a great throw into Triolo. Triolo gets the play at the plate. That's really the reason they won that game. You have to hope there are enough of those plays where you can make him attractive to some team, and then you could flip him at some point during the season. I think that's the only thing that you can do at this point. I don't think he's a player that you can win with long-term. I don't think there's any way I would ever pay him a second contract, but I think at some point you do have to run him out there and hope that there's enough that some team will take him off your hands.
I still think, based on one series, I'm not going to totally overreact because I still think there's a lot of good things.
This is not one series. This is
no, I understand that, but to your point, if he hits, he has a place in my lineup. I'll look past some of those things. If you could tell me a guy's going to hit 30 home runs, steal 30 bases, I'll make way for him.
Last year he hit, 21, and he
had 30.
201. And
I understand that, but again, the power is so bereft on this team, right?
He's got the most, of guys on the current roster, he's got the most superstar potential of anyone there, not Skenes excluded. But it's him. I mean, he has that potential to do it. That's why he's such a key to this season. If he can get even close to some of the things that he can do, he can elevate this team to
if he even hit
a playoff
240
contender.
With 25 home runs, unlike last year it was 21 and 203 or whatever he hit, and just doesn't make. I don't know you get charged with the errors, but just a little bit better defense, just below average defense instead of woefully awful defense. You still have a very good productive player.
Let's talk about Paul Skenes, Ray, because he only lasted 2/3 of an innings, and that's it. 5 runs. Of course, Cruz contributed to 4 of those runs. They're all earned. But, I think we came into the season thinking he's fait accompli, going to be another Cy Young winner. The league does tend to catch up with guys once in a while. His stuff is still good enough, but your thoughts? I'm not worried about him whatsoever, just for the record. He'll be fine. But do you think the league knows enough about him now that they can make it more difficult when he starts?
Well, listen, he should have been out of that first inning 2-2 and probably 22 to 25 pitches. So if Cruz makes those plays. So let's get that out there first. But I thought the Mets had a great approach. I mean, they were fouling off pitches. They were making him work. Now they got a couple of cheap singles. That happens sometimes. I'm with you, though, Bob. I don't think I'm worried about this long term. That's one of the best lineups in the NL with all the additions that they made. I think that's probably just a one-off, and I'm not concerned about Paul Skenes. Maybe the NL is going to catch up to him a little bit, but I'm not concerned about that long term.
If that one bad start happens in July, they let him finish the inning, he probably still makes it four and a third, maybe five, even 5 innings.
Right.
It still charged 5 runs. It's not a good start, but it's not knocked out in the first inning. So that plays a part in this too. But it brings up a point there. He had a 196, 197 ERA his first 2 years. Let's say he has a 2.14 ERA this year. That's still worse. It's crazy to think he still could win the Cy Young, but that's less production you're getting. It's really wild to think of it that way when you're trying to improve, 10, 15 games if you're the Pirates.
I mean, right now the ERA is 67.5, so it's got nowhere to go but down. I don't worry about Skenes because he thinks the game really well. He evolves. He looks for new things to do. He studies. Like, Skenes reminds me of Crosby in that mindset.
Right.
Like, he's always looking for something to get better at. So I don't worry about Skenes just resting on his laurels.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot more to get into. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Penguins, of course, a little later. Also get some football talk in here. But what about Connor Griffin? He had a big weekend. When should he be in Pittsburgh? We'll ask this panel that question next as we continue right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown on KDKA. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the Pirates, who took 1 out of 3. They go to Cincinnati starting tomorrow. And we should expect to see, of course, Ashcraft, Chandler, and possibly Skenes in the last game of that series, setting up Keller to be here for the home opener on Friday. But I want to talk about someone who probably should be here. At least I thought he should be here at the beginning of the season, Jeff, and that's Connor Griffin. He went down to Indianapolis first weekend, pretty good. 1.136 OPS, 3 walks, almost hit a home run, played slick fielding. He looks like he's ready for this. I mean, he's a mature kid.
Yeah.
When do you think the time will be right to bring him up?
I think they're committed to at least a couple of weeks because you send him down. I don't think it's going to be a weekend or a few games, and they're going to immediately bring him back up. I listened to Cherington today, and what Cherington said was they wanted to give him some time against some experienced pitching. And he pointed out, you see good velocity at low A, you see good curveballs at low A, but you don't see the mix of it. And he wants him to have some experience against some guys that are AAA pitchers that could have been in the majors or on rehab or whatever and get that opportunity. So I expect that to be for at least a few weeks.
Yeah, I would think it's going to be. You wouldn't just do it. It'd be kind of great unless there's like a spate of injuries or something on the major league club.
If Triolo gets hurt, then that would change.
You wouldn't necessarily make. If you make the decision to do it, you don't change good based off of one good week or one bad weekend by your starting shortstop or your lineup or whatever it might be. But I think the timetable, especially if he is productive and he's showing, especially with the rule, as we saw with Paul Skenes, there's no reason for service time. If he's going to win Rookie of the Year, you still lose that year anyway. So you might as well you bring him up earlier rather than later. They're not going to wait till June like they used to, I don't think, if he's being productive. And let's face it, Jared Triolo is a nice player and nice guy and everything else, but I don't care how well Jared Triolo is doing in the context of Jared Triolo. You don't make that decision based off.
That's been my biggest complaint. They say they're all in on this season. To me, he is one of your best players right now, sight unseen. And if he is, then he should be here. I understand all the other minutia that goes into this and what you're trying to capture with another year and this and that. But, they started Ray last year 12-26, and they cost themselves any chance of competing.
Yep.
They can't afford to start like that.
Well, listen, take the opener out of the equation. That game got out of hand early. How much would a Connor Griffin and his power, his potential for power, would have helped in Games 2 and Game 3 of this series? You're struggling for runs in both of those games. They were tight games. He is a guy who would help in those situations. And listen, Triolo made an error today. I understand he's not going to do that very often, but Griffin is the complete player. He's going to hit. He's going to field. I'm thinking it's probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks, but I'm hoping it's sooner than that.
And Ray, I would tell you that I felt like Bob, right at the beginning of spring training, it's Griffin, and then you watched it play out, and you saw that he struck out 13 times. He did have 4 home runs.
Right in with the rest of the Pirates. They all struck out.
But I think they made the case. They allowed him to go out there and say, show us beyond a reasonable doubt, and he didn't.
Joe Stinson Garcia made a case for himself, and he didn't get it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and I would have taken him
his
on.
roster spot was done before he even started spring training.
It would have been, what, 1989 was the last time a teenager made the opening day roster as a position player. I mean, it's not just the Pirates. This isn't like cheapness. This is, I mean, there's a lot of reason to criticize the Pirates, but this is, and I get it, maybe Griffin's better than everybody, and that's possible, of course, and we'll see the talent's there, but it hasn't been done for 40 years for a reason, right? 30.
I understand that. What I'm saying, if they get to the end of the year and they find out there are 2 games out, and they had 2 games early in the season where you find out, then he comes up here, he could have really made a difference in those 2 games. Who knows? If you're all in, you're all in. If you're not all in, you're not all in. I don't know.
He's a great player. Like I said, I want to see him up here sooner rather than later. They need great players on this team. We saw that in this first series against the Mets.
All right. What about the pitching rotation? We haven't seen Ashcraft. Are you convinced, Jeff, that this is, they have a lot of inexperience and guys who are going to probably,
Right.
It was good to see Majinski today strike out as many as he did. Your overall thoughts of this staff? Because they don't have a lot of depth to it if there are injury or 2.
Yeah, who would have thought it'd be Skenes that couldn't finish the first inning in his first start? I mean, I thought Majinski was outstanding today. Keller was really good, too. I love Ashcraft. I think the only thing that's held him back is our injuries. I think he's got great stuff. And Bubba's the one wild card to me because he's got great stuff.
Could be.
But there's been issues with his command. So, I like the rotation. Would I like to see them add a veteran to put in the minors other than Clevenger? Yes, I would like to have a backup veteran that you could put in the rotation if needed.
Well, you talked about the lack of depth, and that's they traded 3 starting pitchers since last July.
Get offense. I get that.
So you do that. But it was the right thing to do.
Right.
You from that, and they do have 2. Even now, they have 2 starters, potential starters in their bullpen. Now, what we think of your Quiddy, I don't know where he is, but he's kind of a fill-in maybe. But you'll have Hunter Barco in your bullpen. So you even have on your right, you have Jared Jones. I assume will come back at some point.
That's a big key.
So that could be a big, almost like a not deadline. You hope he's up before.
Well, Joe
August,
Block was saying today it might be late May.
Yeah.
So.
But that would be huge for them if he could be what he was.
Yeah, the one concern is, especially early in the season when your starters, your horses aren't going to go deep into games, is the bullpen. We saw the bullpen leak a little bit in this first series. You just hope that doesn't happen throughout the season.
We're due for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Penguins because they have a huge game tomorrow against the New York Islanders. Islanders are 1 point ahead of them. We'll get into that and what it means going down the stretch here. Can the Penguins pull it out and get to the playoffs? Next. All right, the Penguins found out today they got a generous point because Columbus had a 3-0 lead over Boston, only to blow it and lose 4-3 in overtime. So instead of 2 points, Columbus got 1, puts them in a tie with the Penguins, and they're both 1 behind the Islanders. The Islanders and Columbus have played 1 more game, so the Penguins have 2 games in hand. Chris, I want to ask you about this. Now, they have the Islanders tomorrow. We did not see Malkin or Crosby against Dallas, which was a terrible matchup to begin with, and Dallas was mad. They've lost a few. They lost that game. We might see them tomorrow. But let's talk about that game in itself. To me, it's a must-win. All the way. Regulation win is what you need tomorrow.
It's crazy because 2 years ago, if you recall, the Penguins kept losing all through March. They traded Gensel, and they weren't really losing ground in the standings. They stayed in the race all the way to the very end because everybody around them kept losing. And this year, it's the total opposite. Everybody keeps winning. When they win, they haven't gained any ground. They lose a couple of games, and there's just been tough stretch of the schedule here, playing Colorado and Dallas and Carolina twice. So now the schedule softens up, but you're still facing a playoff team here in the Islanders. It's been, Erik Karlsson stepping up is something I never dreamed we'd see. I pretty much wrote him off at this point, the age he is, and it's almost as if he's been put on the cape whenever Crosby's not out there and everything, but Crosby and Malkin, and down to 9 games, right? Right now you're at, so it's obviously, yes, it's a must-win game. To answer your question.
As well as
Yes.
and as well as Karlsson has played, you need Malkin and Crosby down the stretch to be the guys. The concerning thing is it doesn't matter what season it is. When it's the Islanders, you always say, uh-oh, that's just been the Penguins' kind of Achilles heel over the years. If they can get over that hump in Long Island tomorrow and play well in that game, they might be on the way to something here.
Could they lose that game and still be in the playoffs? Of course. But I'm with you guys. You got to at least get a point out of this game. And to the inverse of what you were saying, the Penguins have lost, I think, like 8 of 13, and yet they're still in the playoff chase.
That too.
So they've been able to get these loser points that have kept them afloat. And now if they get Crosby, it looks like Crosby for sure, Malkin maybe. Now you're going to get these 2 guys back.
Lazat's a big one. He's not back, and their power or penalty killing has gone right down the drain.
They're allowing a lot of goals recently. That's been the biggest since the Olympic break.
I think
the
goaltending's been.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say about goaltending. Here's something out of the blue, and it may not happen, probably won't happen. But Ray, Sergei Miroshev's coming off a very big game, and he's had a really outstanding season. I know there are only so many games left. Would they be so bold as to bring him up and say, we're going to start you in these games right now?
Listen, they have been leaking a lot of bad goals lately. If you have that card to play and you are really concerned about the stretch run and you think you need something to spark you, why not do it? But that is really a tough call for Kyle Dubas to do that late in the season. But if I had that card, and I think it could be a spark, I might
You do it. What about you?
Pomp, this is like Connor Griffin, right? What if they missed the playoffs by 1 point because of they allowed 5 goals to the Islanders 3 weeks ago at the end of the season? If Miroshov could have came, yes, there you go. It could have been the difference. Maybe you think of it that way. I don't know. I've
seen teams do that. You know, they just bring up some guy.
There's stories that throughout. I mean, Cam Ward was a rookie that year. I mean, even Matt Murray to a point.
How about Bennington with St. Louis when they were going nuts?
I don't know if Kyle Dubas can walk in that room with Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, and say, we're going to bring a rookie in. Instead of a guy who's been in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals, and Shelovs, who's been pretty good for most of the year. I agree with you. I think at the trade deadline, they should have brought him up. And even if you didn't trade one of those goalies, send one of them down or do whatever you have to do and play him and give him an opportunity to prove that he can play at this level, because he can be a difference.
But it's a chance to do both for the future, so you're getting a guy a look and kind of giving him pressure games, and you can make the case that's best for now, too. I see
so
what
you're saying they need an injury. That's what you're saying. I mean, not that you want that, in all seriousness.
But it's, I mean, a shot in the arm, it can certainly do that.
Hockey's funny. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Go back to those early 90s teams. Remember Jock Calendar coming up in the playoffs? And, you had that entire line who helped you win a Stanley Cup. Sometimes, I get it, like some sports are different, but hockey is a weird sport. Sometimes being a rookie doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can certainly rally around a guy like that. We'll see what happens. Doubtful, I think, but you never know. Islanders tomorrow, then they come right back home and take on Detroit, a team that's desperate for points as well on Tuesday night. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're talking about Ty Simpson. I didn't want to get you all mad out there. Ty Simpson. He's moving on up, apparently, in a lot of draft mocks. We'll get into that and more when we continue. Welcome back. You know, when I say number one Cochran knows ball, I'm not kidding. Their annual Slam Dunk Offers event has returned to Audi Pittsburgh and Audi Washington. You can score up to $40 per month toward your payments when you lease or purchase a new vehicle. Choose from an elite starting lineup of Audi sedans and SUVs with the all-new Q3 earning MVP honors. You can shop Slam Dunk Offers now. Go to AudiPittsburgh.com or AudiWashington.com and you'll get a slam dunk you'll love. All right, Ray Fittipaldo, I want to ask you about, this is a big week in the sense they have the NFL owners meeting, so Mike McCarthy will speak this week for the first time in a while. This name keeps coming up, Ty Simpson. Some analysts out there have him going early in the draft. Some believe the Steelers, if he's on the board, they'll take him. What is your belief about that quarterback coming to Pittsburgh or being taken early?
Yeah, I saw a report that he's going to work out for the Jets, and the Jets have 2 first-round picks, and they're both before the Steelers pick at 21. I don't think it's in play for the Steelers. I think they have so many other needs, Bob. I think they could take a receiver. They could take a safety. They could even take a guard. I think with this being not a great quarterback class and with 2027 looking like it's going to be really good, I don't think he's in play there. I think that's a lot of smoke.
I kept waiting I wanted to wait for the combine or about to in mid-March before, because it always looked like it was Ty Simpson or bust for the Steelers in the first round, because they weren't going to get Mendoza and nobody else was in that first round range. And I thought maybe the combine will happen, and whether it's Nussmeier, whoever it might be, moves up or whatever, Ty Simpson moved down. But it's pretty much stayed chalk in that sense. So we're here now. I just feel like everybody knows the Steelers need a quarterback of the future. He's young. Mike McCarthy met with. I think there'd be a lot more momentum at this point that the Steelers love Ty Simpson. Will be aggressive and get in because they have the draft capital that you talked about, right. The Jets, whoever. If the Steelers really wanted Ty Simpson, they could get to the 10th pick or whatever it would probably take to get him.
That sounds drastic to me, though, doesn't it?
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Listen, we're in. If there is a doldrum for the NFL, I mean, NCAA is getting a lot of headlines. Baseball's starting. Hockey's going into playoffs. We've been through free agency and the combine. We need something to talk about. How about an Alabama quarterback? Let's blow this out of proportion so we can get ratings, we can get people watching us because, well, I'll say Ty Simpson is this. I'll bite the bullet here, but everyone's going to talk about it and get some more talk about the NFL. I think these things do happen. I think agents plant stuff to guys guys say stuff, and then everybody reacts to it. I don't think Ty Simpson is any different than he was a month ago. I just think we're in that slow cycle, so it's like, ooh, let's talk a lot about Ty Simpson because he's an Alabama quarterback.
I'm sorry, all it takes for a quarterback is one team to really want him and really, really like him to be aggressive and trade up. So I still think one way or another he'll go higher.
Wasn't that the case last week with Jackson, or last year with Jackson Dart? I don't think many people thought he'd be there.
Sorry, Ray.
You know, Steelers passed on him.
Yeah.
But, you know, they could have taken him too.
If the Steelers were serious about taking him, I think they would have had their full contingent at his pro day. They did not. So I think that, you know, sometimes you got to read the tea leaves, and I don't think they're all in on him at this point.
All right, real quick, first round pick. Just give me a position, not a name. What do you think it'll be for the Steelers?
Tackle.
Ooh. Wow. Well, that's become of need, apparently.
I'm sticking with chalk again, wide receiver. I mean, until otherwise, go wide receiver.
I'm going receiver too.
That makes 3.
I mean,
so tackle could be a guard. There are a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I'm the Ty Simpson. I'm the guy throwing something else out there just to get people to talk.
And they will. All right, we'll find out. The NFL owners' meetings are in Arizona this week. We'll have details on that coming up throughout the course of the week. We'll be back right after this on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Crazy finish today. UConn buzzer beater to eliminate Duke. Jeff, who do you got in the final 2?
UConn will get to the championship game, and Michigan will give Arizona everything they can, but I picked Arizona, so I got to stick with it.
We saw Arizona survive maybe their worst half of maybe the season. They're going, and so Illinois is a little underrated all season.
How can you not pick UConn now? Seems like they're a team of destiny. I got UConn and Zona.
What a finish it was. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to the gentlemen here. We'll see you again next Sunday night for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.
Right.
Hello, Wanda.